Hi, Helena. Um, so I'll start with a summary of the novel The Giver. The novel The Giver is written by Louis Lavery and were published in 1993. This novel is mainly about an 11-year-old boy, Jonas. He lives with his family in a controlled society where the elders are controlling everyone. At the beginning of the novel, Jonas is a young boy who is nervous about the ceremony of 12 when he will receive the assignment or job that he will spend the rest of his life doing. Jonas often perceives flashes of change. When he looks at an object, he does not realize that he is perceiving color, which disappeared once the community went over to sameness. At the ceremony, Jonas is chosen to become the new receiver, a prestigious assignment that consists of keeping all the old memories of the community from before the time of the sameness. The Giver is a world in which where there exists no pain, no war, and very little emotion. In this utopia, everything is as pleasant as possible. And the characterization of Jonas. He is the main character, a protagonist. He feels like he feels a bit uneasy, but he knows that frightened is not the correct word. He has been truly frightened only once before, when a plane flew off course over the community a year ago. He mainly follows the rules. He enjoys his volunteer hours. Well, he sees it as freedom, and he's also very impressed by his friend Benjamin. And besides that, he just, yeah. I got a quote. There was never any comfortable way to mention or discuss one's success without breaking the rule against bragging. Even if one didn't mean to, it was a minor rule, rather like rudeness, punishable only by gentle chastisement, but still better to steer clear of an occasion governed by a rule which would be so easy to break. And then it's on page 27. And he also he starts to think a bit sexually, his puberty, or I don't know what you can call it, and he's like loving the girl Fiona. And here's a quote: "I did dream last night," Jonas told them. He shifted in his chair, frowning. It's page 35. And an analysis of the setting. In chapter 1 is just a presentation to the community, talking about rules and language. Got some quotes, but it was of course against the rules. On page 9, he searched for the right word to describe his own feeling. Page 3, and visitors didn't obey the rules. On page 5, and the last quote: "You know the rules. 2 children, 1 male, 1 female, to each family unit." It was written very clearly in the rules, and that was page 8. And then we get to know about the river. Just short quote: "As he pedaled home along the river path," and it's page 3. And then the control society, well, the community, sometime in the future, and releasing. Quote: "But the community's beginning to talk about releasing him, about newborn." Well, it's about the newborn. On page 7. There were only 2 occasions of release which were not punishment. Release of the elderly, which was a time of celebration for a life well and fully lived, and release of a new child, which always brought a sense of what could we have done, on page 7. And it's, well, in general, really about a community in the future, where we the memories and the distant past correspond to our world today. We conclude that it is in fact sometime in the future, because we don't really know where the story takes place, but we know it's in the future. Um, yeah. I also have a quote here. The eight always set out on their first volunteer hour a little nervously, giggling, and staying groups of friends. Page 26. And it's kind of the, like, they must do different kinds of assignment based on their age. And there are more rules and more controlled. So, quote more, all of his volunteer hours will be carefully tabulated at the Hall of Open Records, and that on page 28. And got some more about the community a bit later in this in the novel. The new ritual we learn about, dream telling in the mornings. Each member of the family unit has to tell their dreams to the rest of the family unit. It starts with the 3-year-olds. And I have a quote. Dream telling begins with threes. If new children dreamed, no one knew. And when members of the community start to have the stirrings, they take pills to hinder these feelings. This is a way that the community controls its citizens by taking away their feelings. And I have a quote more, 2 quotes. It's just the pills you're taking for the pills. That's all. That's the treatment for stirrings. How long will I have to take them? Page 38. One more quote. All of your adult life, but it becomes routine. After a while, you won't even pay much attention to it. Page 39. And now we are at the end, where we have to discuss the themes and message in The Giver and compare it to the other 2 stories. So mainly the theme in The Giver is like control society, rules and order, power, dystopia, utopia, and many tradition of feelings, well, no feelings, basically the future. And they mainly have all of them, well, the pedestrian and the giver is like control society. Character is going against the rules, no relations to other people, no communication, no emotion. People are basically empty and can be outside after the dark. Superficial humans, no individuality. Atmosphere is basically similar, and in them all, with the to be or not to be, there's control and freedom, like control of emotions, the population control, and all the main characters are against the society, and they end up knowing the truth, and all of them is in the future. Yes, that was what I had for you. Bye.